Right, well, on the line we have John from Basingstoke, a regular caller to the show. John, are you there?
Hello, Mark. Yes, John Ashe with an E from Basingstoke, phoning in as usual. Good to speak to you again, Mark.
Nice to speak to you, John. Now, at the top of the show, I ask people what they're up to. What are you up to today, John?
Well, I'm up to a walk. I'm having a nice time here by the side of a canal, although I must admit there's a little Gordon Brown Richard III there, which I have to navigate my way around, which I've just done successfully there.
Sorry,
and,
what,
yes,
a what, John?
Nice,
a what, John? What was that, John? A what, sorry?
A little Gordon Brown Richard III. There are a lot of dogs around here.
I see.
And they are prone to relieving themselves nearby this little path by the side of a beautiful canal, which has rippling water on it. No ducks at the moment that I can see. I'm expecting to see some ducks because this is not an island. So, are there ducks over there? No, debris, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Easy mistake. So that's a canal. You've got a little canal path, have you, in Basingstoke?
Absolutely, yes.
Nice.
It is. It's lovely just there. And is the wind bad, by the way?
I can't. Well, now you say it, I can hear a bit of wind. Yes, a bit of wind on the line.
Right. Well, what I'm going to do is walk by these trees
right.
where it's hopefully not quite as windy as it was just then.
Okay.
Although actually, there's a gap coming up just now. Let me just move a little bit beyond this gap.
Okay.
Beautiful sunshine. It's very good for you, you know, Mark. There are lots of health benefits from walking.
Yeah. No, I get that. It's a lovely sunny day, isn't it? A lovely sunny afternoon.
Excuse me.
All right.
Fly went in my mouth there, so there are some hazards to walking. Flies are not known for being particularly hygienic. You know how they eat, don't you, Mark?
Yes, I do. But tell our listeners, John, how they eat.
Yeah, well, what they do is they extend their proboscises. I don't know what the plural of that is. I tend to anglicise everything anyway, so I'll say proboscises, such that they contact with food that you might be going to eat, and they sort of put their digestive fluids down that proboscis into the food, and then they stabble in it with their legs if they've got time, and then they suck it back up again. So the digestive process has already started.
Yeah.
And of course, the problem with that, there is a problem with that, and that is that, unfortunately, that digestive fluid and their proboscis and their legs might have some sort of pathogen that might be deleterious to one's health.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you just said you swallowed a fly, did you?
I didn't know. I spat it out.
Oh, okay.
Yes, okay. I think I'll just do so again. Well, not actually spit it out again, but whatever residue there might have been was. Yes.
Have you got some water with you? Have you got some water? You can swill your mouth out with water if you've got some.
That's a good idea, actually. Yes, I'll do that.
Okay.
Just take the top off. Which. There we are. Yes, I feel cleansed.
Okay.
I mean, the whole thing about going out for a walk is really about cleansing. Now, people don't normally think about it in that way, Mark. But you see, I mean, I have told you before that I have a scientific background. I was a quantity surveyor at one point. I don't know whether I told you that before, have I, Mark?
You have mentioned it, John. You have mentioned it.
Yes, that's right. So, so I have this scientific background, so I tend to even... Look, I'm sorry, I do apologise. I was going to split an infinitive there. I tend even to consider walking in a scientific sense. So there are many benefits, and I'm wondering whether you'd like to hear what those benefits are.
Yeah, why not, John? Yeah, I've got plenty of time. Let's enlighten me and the listeners to what's good about walking.
Right, well, let's start with number one. Number one is that sunshine is actually good for you.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yes, I've heard that.
It's good for you in many ways, and wind is good for you as well, actually. They both impact the skin.
Right.
And they increase the production of vitamin D under your skin, or vitamin C, I can't remember which one. But one of those is either the sun or the wind that helps your skin to make vitamin D or vitamin C.
Okay.
Or vitamin E, one of those. Anyway, whatever it is good for you. Well, one of them is good for. Well, they're both good for you, and I just can't remember which one does which. But it's all part of the science, you see.
Right. So the sun or the wind gives you vitamins, is what you're saying.
Well, no, I'm saying that either the wind or the sun helps you to produce vitamin D, vitamin C, or vitamin E. I've just lost the details, Mark.
I think it's D. I think it's D,
vitamin
John.
D isn't even a vitamin. I think it's a hormone. Not a French hormone, but a hormone.
Right. No, I think vitamin D, John, is what you get when you look into the sun. You get sunlight. I think that's vitamin D.
Oh, well, okay, so it's vitamin D.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a vitamin. Apparently, it's a hormone. That's what I've been told, and it's very good for you. So I'm out here, and whenever the sun shines on me, if we're right about that, and it's not the wind, then it's, yes, my skin is making it, which is rather remarkable, isn't it? But if I was stuck inside, watching a film or something on the sofa, and being a real couch potato, I wouldn't be producing any at all. And that wouldn't be good for my immune system, you see?
Might give you rickets.
No, I'm not very fond of that. I prefer the tennis.
Okay, John. What else can you get when you're out in the sun? Walking. I guess the whole thing of walking is good exercise, isn't it? The muscles, using the muscles is good.
Yes, it is. And now walking, exercise in general is very good for something called autophagy. Now, have you heard of autophagy? Not a lot of people have heard about that, but that is extremely scientific.
No. Tell me what's that?
Right. Autophagy. The actual word means. Oh, there's noise coming from over there. I think I'll go in the opposite direction. Don't like noise. The actual word means eating yourself.
Right.
Now, amazingly, when you go for walking and doing exercise, it's a bit like restricting your diet. You get to a certain point and you start to eat yourself. Where you enter this condition called autophagy, and you don't want it to go too far. Well, I don't think you want it to go too far because I don't want to end up eating myself such that I, have to lose a leg or something like that. But if it goes properly, then you have these little things inside you called autophages.
Right.
And they go around eating up rubbish inside your body. Things like, well, I don't know, it wouldn't be tin cans and crisp packets, but, whatever rubbish you do have inside you.
Not unless you ate them, I suppose. I mean, if you ate one by accident, perhaps you ate a crisp packet by accident.
Right, so that's a good example. So if you did eat a crisp packet by accident, overindulgent with your crisp eating, which I do tend to be when I give in to that particular temptation, if you did that, then yes, the autophagy would go around, the autophages would go around eating up crisp packets. And you just wouldn't want to overdo it. As I say, I wouldn't want to lose a leg and then very extremely embarrassing having to hop home with a bleeding stump. But if you don't go that far, then it's really good for you because then you're cleaned out of all this rubbish.
Okay.
And it's supposed to help with longevity.
Right. Okay.
Your longevity, not somebody else's.
No.
Obviously.
Okay. So you live longer by eating yourself.
You do, isn't that incredible? If you don't take it too far.
Right.
Of course.
Yes.
You need to consult a nutritionist or don't bother with a doctor. Not my doctor anyway. Useless.
Right. They're the one that.
Your doctor might be great. So yes, anybody but my doctor.
I think I seem to remember you phoning in some time ago saying your doctor thought that thought that you'd done your back in on stilts and you disagreed. Is that right? Or was it the pogo stick?
Oh, pogo stick.
Pogo
stilts.
stick.
Yeah. I mean, basically, whatever I go into the surgery with, whether it's a cold, it's a problem with my knee, whether it's going to the toilet too much in the night, whatever the problem is, it's always, well, are you still using those stilts? Are you still on that pogo stick? It's pathetic.
Okay.
7 years of medical training for that.
Well, look, John, okay, so that's good. So you've covered eating yourself. I guess that's because your energy, you're using so much energy that you're starting. Presume you combine that with not actually eating much. So if you eat less and you exercise more, your body is starting to eat away at all the rubbish inside your body. Am I close to
correct.
that?
No, you're absolutely right. I haven't eaten today.
Right.
Although I did make the mistake of having a bit of milk in my coffee, so that might have compromised this auto-eating business. But if I'm very strict about it, then yes, you start to eat yourself because you're not eating. You start to eat yourself because you're not eating.
Because you're not eating other things.
You go for a good walk and you start eating yourself more.
What about?
But there is that fear that it might go too far. But,
What about if you?
Not yet. It hasn't yet.
Now, what about if your walk turns into a jog? I suppose that will make you eat yourself more.
Yeah, so I'm not taking that risk. There's no way. No.
What about if you ran for a bus? Say you were going out for a walk, turning on a jog. You saw a bus in the distance that you knew you were going to have to catch to go perhaps into town, and you ran for the bus. I suppose that could be a risk if you hadn't eaten earlier in the day.
Yeah, it could actually. I don't think I would take that risk because I'd start walking, and by the time I got to the bus, I might only have one leg. I have a feeling that it would attack the leg because I have a bit of a weakness there with particularly the right knee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. What about you? Sorry. Yes.
Did you hear that? It was a gunshot. Flip.
Goodness. So
yeah, there's a lot of murders going on in this area of the world, I'm afraid.
But you're still extolling the benefits of going for a walk on the canal.
Well, second thoughts now, perhaps.
Right, John. So, well, we've got vitamins. We've got eating yourself. What else would you say would be good about going for a walk?
Well, as I've already mentioned, the trees. The trees are good for you. So, sorry about that wind. That must be making a good amount of vitamin D or C or either.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, the trees and the grass and the water and no, there aren't any ducks. I still haven't seen any ducks. Anyway, nature with an N, with a capital N.
Okay.
Very good for you. Yes. No, I don't mean that in a mystical sense because you remember. Have I ever told you that I was a quantity surveyor?
You mentioned it earlier in the converson, John.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. Yes. So I have a scientific background, so I don't tend to think of nature in a mystical sense.
Right.
I don't necessarily consider it in a totally mechanistic sense. I am aware that it's perhaps closer to a biological organism, let's say, than it is to some sort of machine. But it's like a huge biological organism, and we're part of it, you see. So if it's all functioning nicely, then we are functioning nicely too. So when I'm out and about and I'm seeing the trees and the wind is blowing through my hair, and I'm seeing the grass and flowers and things like that, then I believe, on a scientific basis, that it has a good impact upon my psyche, which also has a good impact upon my body.
So do you like animals?
No, I can't bear animals. No, they're not part of nature, you see.
Right.
In my view.
Okay, so
we are, but animals aren't.
Right. Okay, John. So that sounds a bit like a sort of the Gaia theorem, the idea of we're all sort of one big, the Earth and everything on it is all one part sort of organism.
I suppose so. This is James Lovelock's thing, isn't it? Yes. Well, yes. I mean, again, from a science, and I think he did approach that in a fairly scientific way. Although I do think he opened the door to a possible mysticism through which a number of dubious characters jumped, making undue assumptions. But yes, conclusions. Right. I mean, yes, I think there's quite a bit to the idea that it's like a big organism, but I'm not sure that it's conscious. I mean, I often do a little test, and here's the test. Here's a tree.
Okay.
Very pleased to meet you. What is your name? See, well, again, scientific test, I do that frequently, and it never applies to me. Well, I mean, no tree. Well, obviously, I don't do it to the same tree all the time, but no tree ever applies to me. So I don't think they're conscious.
But, I mean, they don't have a mouth, do they, John, or ears, so it's possible they just didn't understand you or can't communicate with you.
Well, it's possible.
Or can't hear you.
Think of all the ways in which they might be able to communicate with you. When I said, I didn't hear anything, I didn't see anything. Well, that was being very loose about that. Sometimes I stand for several hours looking at said tree, looking for any evidence of reaction, communication, and I never see any evidence. And you have to say, although you can't prove anything definitely in science, you have to ask yourself, is it reasonable to believe such and such? So I'm asking myself, is it reasonable to believe that a tree is conscious when it never shows any signs of understanding, and never shows any signs that it's trying to communicate with you? I think the answer is no.
Okay, John. All right. Well, look, you've extolled the benefits of walking. I'm sure the listeners might have a view on that. What else is there, John? Anything else we can look forward to if we go out for a walk this afternoon?
Absolutely. This is probably the most important one that I really should have put at the beginning of my list of benefits. No, I've actually forgotten that. There was something. It was very important. I should have put it at the beginning, but I seem to have forgotten it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, John. Right. Well, look, do you have something for us to play for you? Because we always do play a song for you.
No, I was hoping that you were going to provide that, Mark. I don't have anything on me, unfortunately.
All right. Well, look, how about something springs to mind here? How about everybody loves the sunshine? How about that?
Do you know, actually, that was the one that was crossing my mind earlier on today.
Okay.
Because I thought, I like the sunshine. Most people I know like the sunshine. Maybe everybody likes the sunshine, or everybody loves the sunshine.
Okay.
I can't prove that, again, from a scientific basis, but it seems reasonable to me that most people at least. So I thought, wouldn't that be a nice song to hear? But it just went out of my mind. Like, the most important reason for taking a walk went out of my mind. But yes, now you've reminded me. What a great choice. I'd like to hear that, please, Mark.
Absolutely. Well, we'll put that on the virtual turntable. I think that's Everybody Loves the Sunshine by...
it's Roy Ayers.
Roy Ayers, that's it. Yes, Roy Ayers.
1976, and I used to dance to that as a young man with Maud.
Fantastic. Well, that's who we'll do a shout-out for.
No, Molly, please, if you don't mind, today, just to be fair.
Oh, all right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, John. Well, I'll leave you to it on your walk. Lovely to hear from you, as always. Regular caller to the show.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Mark. Great to speak to you. Looking forward to the song. I do recommend walking to everybody who can walk, that is, and I hope that you will enjoy the benefits of walking yourself, Mark, and improve your health in various ways.
Do you know,
yes, great to speak to you, great show and all that. Good to speak to you again sometime.
Lovely, John. Well, I might even walk myself a bit later on. It's lovely to speak to you, and perhaps speak to you next week.
Oh, absolutely, Mark. Marvellous, wonderful show. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, John.
Darren's Bar.